In the picturesque region of Kent, England, the life of a vibrant young woman was tragically extinguished in a senseless act of violence that would echo far beyond her local community. This is the poignant tale of Molly McLaren, a talented, driven, and compassionate individual whose existence and legacy were forever tainted by a heartbreaking betrayal from someone she once trusted. At just 23 years old, Molly was a dedicated student with a fervent interest in fitness and mental health advocacy, looking forward to a bright future. Renowned for her radiant smile and unwavering determination, she embodied more than just an academic. She was a beloved daughter, a cherished friend, and a source of inspiration for those fortunate enough to know her. However, beneath her cheerful facade lay a troubling narrative, one that would tragically lead to an unimaginable act of violence. Molly McLaren was born on May 26, 1994, in Cobham, Kent, England. At the time of her tragic murder, she was a second-year undergraduate student at the University of Kent. Molly was not only a dedicated student, but also worked as a fitness instructor and blogger, driven by her passion for exercise. Throughout her life, she had battled bulimia, an eating disorder characterized by episodes of binge eating, followed by self-induced vomiting. Fortunately, she was making significant progress in her recovery at that time. Molly was committed to overcoming her struggles and had even created a popular blog focused on her journey, aiming to inspire and assist others facing similar challenges. In addition to her university studies and blogging, Molly balanced a part-time job as a shop assistant at Ted Baker. She was also quite active on social media platforms, frequently using Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Tinder to connect with others and share her experiences. In July 2016, Molly McLaren encountered Joshua Stimson through the dating app Tinder, sparking a conversation that would change her life. Joshua, a double-glazing salesman originally from Stoke-on-Trent, had relocated to Medway after completing his secondary education. He resided in Woodham, close to Rochester, and began his job at a window manufacturing company. When they connected, he was 26 years old, marking this as Molly's first serious romantic involvement. Former co-workers painted a picture of Joshua with two distinct personas. One as a charming and intelligent individual who excelled during his job application, and the other as a depressed and socially awkward recluse who struggled with social interactions. When Molly swiped right, she was captivated by the appealing side of Joshua, quickly developing strong feelings for him. They exchanged messages for 3 months before finally meeting in person. As her best friend Chloe noted, it was Molly's first proper boyfriend. Joshua had shared with Molly that he had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a revelation that raised concerns for her mother, Joanne. Joanne recounted, "She asked me not to judge, but knowing she had issues, I asked her if she felt able to take on other people's issues." In response, Molly replied, "We could help each other." However, it was later revealed during his trial that Joshua did not have bipolar disorder, a conclusion supported by psychologists for both the prosecution and the defense. In the early stages of their relationship, Molly and Joshua quickly started dating after they met. Initially, they seemed like a content couple, and even Molly's concerned mother, Joanne, regarded Joshua as normal. Molly introduced him to her friends, but they soon picked up a negative vibe from him. Their suspicions were confirmed when Joshua began attempting to cut Molly off from her friends. He inundated her with messages and frequently arrived at her house without prior notice. Molly's friends noticed that she felt increasingly pressured by his manipulative tactics, yet she was determined to give their relationship a fair chance. At 26 years old, Joshua began spending the majority of his free time at Molly's family home, bonding with her father over football and even choosing to celebrate Father's Day with him instead of his father. In April 2017, the entire family supported Joshua as he participated in the London Marathon, running to raise funds for a bipolar charity. However, as the months passed and the dynamics of Molly and Joshua's relationship shifted, those closest to her began to notice a troubling change. By March 2017, Molly's mother observed that her daughter seemed increasingly disinterested in her relationship with Joshua. Molly was starting to feel suffocated by Joshua's desire to spend excessive amounts of time together. According to her father, Doug, it seemed as though he didn't have any friends and was a bit of a loner. He just wanted her to himself and wasn't interested in making new friends or even dealing with Molly's friends. He would just turn up uninvited when she wanted to have some time on her own to study. He would come and lie on her bed so he knew where she was and what she was doing. To dedicate even more time to Molly during her summer break, he even left his job at a warehouse, which added significant strain to their relationship. It was during a party celebrating Molly's aunt's 60th birthday in Essex that the first alarming signs of Joshua's troubling behavior began to emerge. Joanne, Molly's mother, noticed some unsettling behavior during the party. She recalled, "He was staring at Molly as if to say, 'Come and sit back down, I don't want you dancing.' She was dancing with her cousins, and one of my nieces, who hadn't met him before, said she didn't like him." After the celebration concluded and everyone had settled in for the night, Joanne received a disturbing WhatsApp message from Molly. The message requested that she come to the room Molly was sharing with Joshua because he was playing up. When Joanne entered the room, she found Molly pacing angrily. "You won't believe what he has done," Molly exclaimed. "He has been recording me and videoing me." Molly described how Joshua remained unfazed, lying calmly on the bed during their argument. It was at this moment that Molly confided in her mother about her changing feelings for Joshua, expressing her realization that she needed to break up with him. However, she was uncertain about how to end the relationship, as she was deeply concerned about his feelings. This concern was typical of Molly, who often prioritized others' emotions over her well-being. The situation escalated dramatically one night when Molly decided to end her relationship with Joshua while out with her friends. She pulled him aside and told him it was over. Molly later confided to her mother that Joshua had shouted, "She's finished with me!" in front of a crowd of friends. Unable to accept her decision, he created a scene, left the venue, and then inundated her with messages pleading for her to reconsider. Despite his fervent attempts, Molly remained resolute in her decision not to reconcile. As Joshua's pleas were met with rejection, his behavior turned alarming. Following the breakup at the nightclub, Molly chose to block Joshua on all social media platforms. This action infuriated him, leading to a barrage of malicious posts about her online. He made outrageous accusations claiming Molly was a drug addict who used cocaine, even tagging her parents in these defamatory posts, trying to undermine the healthy image she had cultivated online. The harassment continued for days, prompting Molly to reach out to Facebook for assistance in removing the posts, but her efforts were unsuccessful. After receiving advice from a family friend, Molly decided to gather and print all the offensive posts. On June 22nd, she visited the North Kent police station to report the abuse to PC Philpott. When the officers checked their records, they found that Joshua had no prior police involvement. They advised Molly, along with her friends and family, to block him on social media and to report any further instances of harassment. While at the police station, PC Philpott took the initiative to call Joshua directly. He stated, "We wouldn't want Molly to come to the police station again about you, would we?" Joshua's response was chillingly indifferent. "Wouldn't we?" One specific comment that Joshua made online alarmed Molly, as it ominously warned her that there was more to come and that he wasn't joking. Just a few days after the police visit, Molly shared on Snapchat that she was going out for dinner with friends, believing that Joshua wouldn't see it because she had blocked him. However, while enjoying her time at the restaurant, she was taken aback when Joshua unexpectedly showed up. Initially, Molly tried to dismiss it as a coincidence, but the situation quickly became uncomfortable. Feeling horrified by his presence, she decided to leave the restaurant as soon as she could. On June 28th, Molly headed to Pure Gym at the Dockside in Chatham to film herself exercising for her personal instructor course. Later that evening, she joined a group of friends at the Ship and Trades pub to celebrate one of her friends landing a new job. While they were enjoying their time together, Joshua unexpectedly walked into the pub accompanied by an unfamiliar girl. Chloe, one of Molly's friends, noted that Molly didn't appear frightened by Joshua's sudden arrival. Instead, the group's reaction was one of disbelief and discomfort, with comments like, "What a creep," echoing among them. Initially, they were puzzled about how he had found out where Molly was that night, but it soon became clear that the location had been shared on social media earlier that day. Joshua then walked past their table and headed to the smoking area, where he stood and stared at the group. Notably, witnesses remarked that Joshua did not smoke. Feeling increasingly uneasy, Molly decided it was best to leave. She wanted to inform her mom about Joshua's unexpected presence at the pub, but her friends reassured her, saying, "Don't worry about that psycho." On June 29th, Molly went to Pure Gym at Dockside, a place she frequented regularly. A gym staff member noticed her entering at 10:10 a.m. However, unbeknownst to her, Joshua had followed her there. As Molly started her workout, she sensed his presence when he laid his mat directly beside hers, causing her to feel uneasy. Overwhelmed with fear, she confronted Joshua, asking if he was indeed tracking her. At 10:45 a.m., she reached out to her mother, texting, "Mum, he's turned up at the gym and come next to me." Subsequent CCTV footage confirmed that Joshua not only entered the gym, but also intentionally sought out Molly to work out near her. Molly, feeling increasingly anxious, reached out to her mother for advice. Her mother urged her to come home immediately, but reminded her to drive safely. This would turn out to be the final communication between them. Just before that, at 11:02 a.m., Molly sent a WhatsApp message to her friends expressing her distress, stating, "Feels like I'm looking over my shoulder all the time." Tragically, the 23-year-old was unaware that her killer was lying in wait nearby, equipped with a bag containing the 2 knives and a pickaxe he would later use to take her life. Around 11:08 a.m., as Molly was getting ready to drive away in her car, Joshua abruptly exited his vehicle, rushed over, and yanked open the passenger door before launching a brutal attack on her. Despite her desperate attempts to fend him off by screaming and honking the horn, Molly succumbed to her injuries within minutes. The horrifying scene unfolded in front of several witnesses in the parking lot, including a courageous bystander named Benjamin Morton, who bravely intervened. He attempted to stop the assault by slamming Joshua's leg in the car door, pulling him away, and ultimately positioning his vehicle to block Joshua's escape. After the attack, Joshua exited the car covered in blood, calmly wiped his face, and surrendered to the police, stating, "You want me." Despite the valiant efforts of paramedics, Molly was officially pronounced dead at 11:43 a.m. Autopsy findings revealed that she had suffered 75 stab wounds inflicted with a paring knife purchased from Homebase. The tragic loss of Molly left her family in profound sorrow. Her mother faced the heartbreaking task of informing her father, who was working on a boat 100 miles off the coast of Senegal, about their daughter's death over the phone. Even with Joshua discovered at the scene, bloodied and found with the murder weapon in Molly's car, he further traumatized the family by entering a plea of not guilty to murder, opting instead for a guilty plea to manslaughter. He claimed he had diminished responsibility and couldn't recall the events of the attack. This plea led to a trial, forcing Molly's loved ones to endure hearing the horrific details surrounding her death. The trial uncovered troubling details about Joshua's history with women. 2 of his former partners, Alexandra Dale and Leah Hubbard, testified about his controlling and possessive behavior. Through a video link, Miss Dale recounted harrowing experiences, stating that Joshua had attempted to call her 25 times in a single day following a night out, intensifying his obsession over time. She recalled chilling threats, including one where he claimed he would fly out to drown her while she was on vacation, and he even vandalized her car by slashing all its tires. Similarly, Miss Hubbard shared her own unsettling experiences, describing how their relationship turned toxic. Initially, things seemed fine, but Joshua became increasingly possessive when she couldn't always be available for him. After he followed her around a bar in Maidstone and even spat a drink at her, she warned him that she would call the police if he ever returned to her flat. In light of these revelations, a domestic homicide review was initiated by the Kent and Medway Community Safety Partnerships to assess how authorities managed Molly's case. The review uncovered significant shortcomings in the investigation conducted by Staffordshire Police, particularly regarding allegations made against Joshua 4 years before Molly's tragic death. During that period, he was in a relationship with Miss Dale, who had reported receiving harassing text messages from him. Unfortunately, these messages were not classified as a crime, and there was insufficient evidence to connect him to the reported acts of vandalism. As a result, Joshua only received a warning via text from a police officer advising him to keep his distance. The findings of the domestic homicide review indicated that the role of Staffordshire Police was significant in determining whether Kent Police could have learned about the 2013 incident involving Joshua when Molly voiced her concerns. The review noted 2 possible ways this information could have been uncovered. Firstly, If Joshua had been designated as a suspect in any crime, a search through the police national database would have brought this to light. Secondly, any cautions or convictions related to criminal behavior would have been logged in the police national computer. In a move to improve procedures, Staffordshire Police revised their policy in 2016, enforcing that officers must document stalking incidents as crimes, even if the victims are hesitant to pursue further action. On February 6, 2018, Joshua received a guilty verdict for murder, resulting in a sentence of at least 26 years behind bars. The jury reached their decision in less than 4 hours. During the trial, Judge Williams addressed Joshua directly, stating, "What you did was an act of wickedness. You took Molly's life with intent and in a brutally vicious manner. You aimed to punish her for ending your relationship, driven by a desire for revenge. At just 23 years old, she was beautiful and intelligent. The raw grief and anguish of her family is evident for all to see. You represent a significant danger to society, and you will continue to pose a considerable risk to women for a long time to come." In the wake of Molly's tragic death, her parents are optimistic that the changes to stalking reporting laws will prevent future victims from suffering a similar fate. Following her passing, Molly's family and friends established the Molly McLaren Foundation, which has successfully raised thousands of dollars for charitable causes. This foundation focuses on supporting organizations that assist individuals with eating disorders and distributing funds to those in need. Additionally, it aims to raise awareness about eating disorders and the vital work being done by various charities. Since Molly's passing, the foundation has organized Mollyfest, a charity festival dedicated to generating funds for the Molly McLaren Foundation. The loss of Molly profoundly affected all who knew her family, friends, and everyone whose lives were enriched by her warmth and enthusiasm. Their grief highlights the serious and enduring consequences of domestic violence and stalking, issues that often remain overlooked until it is too late. In the aftermath of her passing, Molly's family and community have dedicated themselves to raising awareness about the risks associated with stalking and advocating for enhanced protections for victims. Their mission is to ensure that Molly's legacy transcends the tragedy of her death, focusing instead on the lives that can be preserved through increased education and proactive measures. Molly McLaren's story serves as a poignant reminder of the critical need to take threats seriously and maintain vigilance in safeguarding those who are at risk. As we honor her memory, let us allow her experience to motivate us to speak out, lend a hand, and support those in distress, uniting our efforts to foster a safer environment where no one has to endure fear. If you found this video compelling, leave a like and your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe and watch our other videos.